Late as usual for my own show. What is going on, everybody? Welcome. Hey, why don't we get the chat in here? Come on over, chat. Hey, looks like you guys have been busy in the chat already. Welcome to the Friday live stream. I love doing this. Back for this first week of the whole new year. See how things are going so far. Not so bad. Not a lot of news. Everything's a little quiet, to be honest, this week. And I wanted to talk about some things that matter to me the most. And well, tonight's stream is going to be largely about that. Sneaking in the back door, sneaking in the back door. This is what sneaky people do. They sneak in the back door. They try to bring things in the sneaky way. And this is what socialism has been. It's been such a great idea. The greatest ideas always need to be snuck in the back door. The greatest ideas need to be forced upon you. They're never just adopted on their own. And that's really what's going on. I had to throw that in the title, of course, the title tonight, environmental. This is the whole idea of the watermelons. This is the environmental movement that comes in bearing the fruits of communism, of socialism. This is really what they're all about. This is what they've always been about, and this is what that whole thing is. So we can be environmental. We don't have to be mental. This is the idea, and this is why I introduced the shirt for the store. Ecological, not environmental. I'm definitely a big fan of the environment. I'm a fan of keeping things clean. But the best way to do that is to bring prosperity. People don't care much about the environment when they're poor. And this is what happens when you bring socialism. So if you do care about the environment, you will care about bringing prosperity to the masses, to everybody. And how do you raise all ships? Well, the tide must rise. And well, the old idea of the market economy and freedom, the idea of property ownership. This is great. It's a great thing. And when people have property ownership, they have a stake in everything that's going on in their communities and their economy and everything. So yeah, ecological, not environmental. This is the whole concept here. But yeah, absolutely, with the idea of the watermelons. Yes, that's actually a quote from James Delingpole, who wrote a book called Watermelons, the rise of the new environmental movement and their communist roots. And that's really where we're at with that. Let's bring the chat back. Come on in, chat. Anyway, welcome back. We're going to be talking a lot about this throughout this episode, and we're going to be talking about how we're going to get back to a market economy, a free society where you can open up a business and not have the burden of the state upon you to be so intrusive in your business, like straight up in everybody's lives. I was actually talking with Marcus Wong today. We went for coffee together in midday. I think he's gonna be popping in later in the stream to say hello to everybody. Well, he's gonna be running in my riding, and that's the Sea to Sky West Vancouver riding. Well, he's gonna be going for the conservative position, so that's up for grabs. But this is a time to be mindful of this stuff. If you do plan on voting in any sort of, try to vote in people into a party. I've been telling people, get involved. If you don't like the people in the party, well, vote for better people into the party. This is the whole thing. And you don't have to necessarily be completely all for a party, right? You're not going to see me rah party, but I do want to see better people in politics, and the only way to do that is to get involved at the party level. And so that's it. So the idea being, you gotta register, and so that when they call those votes, you can get in there and you can vote for that. And if they don't do a good job, at least if you're proactive and you're talking with people, then you can actually get a line of dialogue with these people. And that's the most important thing. If you don't think people are doing a good job and they're completely removed from you, well, what do? You feel alienated. And that's how we are. But we were talking about this today. And we were talking about the idea of the government just being so involved in your life, and how absurd that thought is. Why are they so involved? And we both kind of tuned into this idea that the government should be like the ideal government is like you're the ideal landlord. Have you ever rented a place? The ideal government is the ideal landlord. The landlord, the best landlord you'll ever get, you never speak to, you never even hear from. And that's the idea. And as the landlord, you know, the best tenant is someone you never hear from. That's the idea. They're happy, you're happy, everything's good, we're mutually great. But if your landlord's always in your business, always in your life, telling you, oh, you can't do that, you can't hang those curtains, you can't do this, you can't, oh, you're gonna have to ask permission if you want to do this, you want to have this or that, you gotta come, you gotta call me, you gotta, oh, and I'm gonna go over it, I'm gonna stew over it before I give you an answer. No, again, the best landlord is the one that just, you know, just don't wreck my place, you know, and that's it. And not only that, the best landlord is one that's going to keep things reasonable. And just like a government, the landlord that keeps your prices of your rent reasonable is the one you're going to want to stay with. And this is what's happening in Canada. People are looking at this government and they're going, this landlord is too much. They're just asking for too much. You know what? People are moving with their feet and they're getting out of Canada. And I want to see that come to an end. I want to see people stop doing that. It would be nice, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to stop moving if they keep seeing greener pastures, greener grass elsewhere. And that's really what it comes down to. Gone are the days of governments being able to just look at us like tax livestock. They got to start looking at us as, and maybe this is why the whole concept of the World Economic Forum and why they want to make us so immobile. Mobility is a great tool. It makes you not a tax livestock. It makes you an individual worth having in the country, and then the government would need to have you, keep you in that place, and it needs to be a mutual relationship. If the government's a parasite on the people, that is not good. It's not good. It's not a mutually beneficial relationship, and it's toxic. That's a toxic relationship. You either leave it or you change the relationship, and that's really what we need to be doing. Trish Prue with the $5 super chat. CPC was calling for donations. Told the guy I will when Singbat gets off his ass and calls an election. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, donations, sure. But thank you for the donation. Thank you for the super chat. Donation, sure. But you got to make sure that you're still registered. And unfortunately, the conservatives are the only ones that ask for money on registration. So you're going to have to give that up at least once a year. And Marcus actually reminded me that I need to register back if I want to vote for him in my region. So it's a thing. But I'm not going to tell people who to vote for. I'm just going to make sure that they have all the information that they need to get that stuff done in their right ways. And that's the thing. Shut down the border. Now, yeah, so here's an interesting thing. We need immigration, obviously. I mean, we want to bring in the brightest and best. Absolutely. But at the same time, we can't have between the months of July and September, we got 450,000 people came into Canada. Like, what is the vetting process of that? They can't make they couldn't make my son's passport in a year and a half. How do you think they're vetting 450,000 people coming into the country in 3 months? In 3 months. Do you think they're vetting these people? I don't think so. So, like, yeah, if you can't process my passport, you cannot process people. So, yeah. Let's maybe say that we'll only new visas or new people coming to the country per passport made. That's the thing. Yeah, Tempest saying Gaza refugees next. They're just anybody with the excuse to give a refugee status to. And is that going to be good? Are they going to just bring conflicts from their own regional conflicts to our country? We don't want that. And the thing is, like, I've made myself pretty clear. I'm not getting involved in the middle of that conflict. It's not my conflict. It's not my conflict. I have empathy for, just innocent civilians on both sides of any conflict. But if you're bringing the conflict with you, you're not an innocent civilian, in my opinion. Lou with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. When CBC gets defunded, we gonna have the biggest live chat party of all time, guys. I'm gonna get wasted. Who's with me? That'll be fun. That will be fun. I don't think my ratings will go up any because of CBC being defunded. Because I mean, the ratings are good anyway. I think I got better ratings than CBC programming. To be honest, I mean, for how much I put out there and how much they put out there, I mean, I think I actually get much better viewership than CBC. But I mean, we could sue over that one. Penny D with the $10 super chat. Hi, Clyde and everyone. I don't want to see others leave Canada either. Unfortunately, yesterday I saw someone being bashed, and I felt that we really can't decide that for someone else, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not going to bash people who do leave Canada. No way. You know, I've seen that too. I've seen people poo-pooing on people who end up leaving. But like, some people, what do they have a choice of? Like, what if somebody loses their home and they can't buy another home and they have a family, but they look across the border in some other country, either the United States, like say someone's a dual citizen, and they look right across the border and there's something affordable and a place that they can work. What would you do then? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy concept. But I mean, people have to move with their feet. A majority of Canadians come from families that did the same thing to get to Canada. Grass was greener here, and they came here and they wanted to make this a great place, and they did for such a long time. And I mean, things have been sliding downhill. We can make this a great place again, but we need. It's an uphill battle. It really is. I watched more Clyde than CBC. Thanks, Rickardy. Appreciate that. No offense, Clyde, but that isn't hard to do. Chicken Lady, I'm not sure what you're in reference to. What's hard to do? Taking sides, or Clyde, do you live close to Molly's Reach? I don't know where Molly's Reach is, so I don't know if I'm close to it. I couldn't tell you. To me, I love Clyde Do Something channel. Thank you. Or me too. There's my dyslexia. I'm flipping it around. Tip: don't watch CBC. Well, I have to watch it. I watch this stuff, so I know what's going on in the media. And in the media, there's all kinds of stuff. There's stuff they're talking about, and then there's stuff they're not talking about. The stuff that they don't want to talk about is astronomical. I mean, there was news that came out this week that nobody wanted to talk about. That's a thing. Here's one story that nobody wanted to talk about. The Babylon Bee's talking about it, and I love their humorous take. Epstein list hangs itself moments before release. You got to give these guys credit. They're hilarious. Marty joining this evening? No, Marty's not joining this evening, but I will be. I'll be going off hanging out with Marty in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna be flying out there to say hello, and we're gonna go join Tucker Carlson talking with Danielle Smith in a few weeks. Love hanging out with Marty. Always a great time. Always great. But yeah, this was one of the things. And speaking of Marty, because there's that. Marty tweeted this one out because people are posting copies of what they think is the list, and I don't know what's true, and I haven't had time to sift through all of this stuff. I'm trying to like look at other things and whatever. If we get good information and all that stuff, yeah, of course I'll talk about it. I know a lot of other people on YouTube and other mainly YouTube having some anomalies, let's just say, with their live streams as they get talking about that stuff. But Marty's saying, of course, do you think Trudeau do I think Trudeau's name is on the list? You bet I do. And of course, here's somebody's version of the list. I don't know if this is a version of the list. This says this list is fake, but everybody's got an opinion. People are using the fact check section for their opinions. That's always the case. But you know, we got a highlighted don't over there, and that's the thing. Robert McFallon with a $10 super chat. Thanks for watching CBC so I don't have to. You're welcome. You're very welcome. You know, I used to say I go to Twitter so you don't have to, but I've been encouraging people to get over to X. Get over to X and populate. There's a lot more people coming over, and the more people that come over, it's great because, you know, it was for the longest time it was a left-leaning echo chamber, and I'm not suggesting we make it a right-leaning echo chamber. I'd like to see it become the open forum that everybody anticipated it to be. And it used to be for the longest time until it became a left-leaning echo chamber, when everybody who didn't agree with the far left, and I'm talking centrists, got shadow banned and all this stuff just for having a normal opinion. Yep, I'm following you on Twitter. Nice. Okay, that's great. I love to see that. But like the followership on Twitter is nowhere near the followership here on YouTube. So I'm not ditching YouTube for Twitter anytime soon. That's for sure. Gonna keep things going. Gibson's is where Molly's Reach is. The Beachcombers filmed here. Are you close? Close to Gibson's? I mean, if you take a ferry, you have to go across the on the ferry to get to Gibson's, right? I've never been to Gibson's. I just know it's one of the destinations on so like I'm not that far from Horseshoe Bay, so you could get there. But I never take the commie boat, and I call it that because it is. When you have no other choice, what else do you call it? It's a communist boat. It's the state-run government boat. The only, and it's funny too because you go to, what is it? You go to BC Place, you go to watch a hockey game, and they have advertisements all over the place for BC ferries. This is how inept government is. If you want to go to the island, there's one way to do it, and it's BC ferries. Why would you advertise that? Like their slogan might as well be, because you have no other choice. It really is that. So why are they're spending taxpayers' money, or money that's from the Crown Corporation? They could be lowering their rates instead of spending millions on, you guessed it, advertising and patting themselves on the back and giving themselves bonuses and all that stuff. But, you know, they could just lower the rates, or perhaps have more sailings, have a better thing. You read it wrong, Clyde. LOL. What? Did I read it wrong? Because Gibson's or Crown Royal, the eternal question. Did I read Gibson's wrong? I don't know. I don't know what I read wrong now. I'm Gibson's. A good BC salmon though on the ferries. Yeah, of course. There's no bad salmon in BC. There is no bad salmon. It's just a thing. That's a thing. But let's get into some of this other stuff. Let's just the guy's comment. Haha. Okay. All right. Oh, don't step on my toes, Tempest. Oh, you guys are funny. I saw you guys on Twitter going after each other. That was funny. What's your thought on JT's plane breakdown in Jamaica? I haven't even heard of that yet. Really? Did you have another? You had another issue? Somebody getting a little, having a good time over in Jamaica now, and they're getting stopped at that's what happened in well, I'm not saying that that's what happened in India, but that's what the allegations are of what was happening in India. Is that and this is from like all over India. They're saying this. It's not like you know, weird little third-party sites that are saying this. Their mainstream media is reporting that. I don't know. As soon as he gets back, he makes these allegations of India, you know, doing, you know, espionage and killing people on our territory, and then those allegations just go away. They just go away like nothing. So weird timing. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of the douche, speaking of the guy, Marty with another post here on Twitter. I just wanted to share this one because this is just, it's outrageous. Every time I see this stuff that he has to say, it blows my mind that these are the things that come out of a person's mouth, especially knowing the history of the person.
The respect for the infinite dignity of each individual means no one should get left out. And this is also true for people who hold different political views.
You mean unacceptable ones?
We all need to commit to more listening and less shouting.
Like telling people that they take space, they take up space. Are you kidding me?
Diversity of ideas helps us learn from one another.
Right, diversity of ideas. Trudeau calls convoy truckers tinfoil hats, says he will not meet with organizers. Yeah, the honorable douche. That's right.
Talking with people who think differently from us is how we challenge ourselves. And challenging ourselves is how we grow.
You know what? This guy loves to mentally challenge himself. He's known to be mentally challenged all the time. It's the thing. Bob, thanks for the $1 super chat. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, liar on us on disability, we're left behind. He makes me so damn sick. Yeah, absolutely, makes everyone sick. But yeah, the challenges of this guy, he's challenged.
So by strengthening our open, inclusive societies, everyone benefits. Democracy benefits.
This guy's the most anti-democratic leader we've ever had. Order in council for everything. Order in council. There's nothing democratic about an order in council. This is what this guy's all about. It's absolutely insane. Oh, Bob, thank you so much again with the gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to pronounce your last name, Bob Herkimer. I hope I pronounced that correctly. That's me. I'm terrible. You know it. But thank you so much for the super chat, and then gifting gifting memberships to the channel. Everyone who's got one, make sure you say thank you very much to Bob in the chat. Get in there and give a big old thank you. Really appreciate that. But yeah, this guy, the most anti-democratic leader Canada's ever seen. I mean, how else can you put it? Order in council. If you want to put something through and make it a law, there is a democratic process for that. Why is it that this guy does not want to go through any of those processes? Ugh, unbelievable. I almost said the diabetic process. I'm feeling like I could use some sugar at this point. This guy gets my goat every time. But let's get into some of the stuff that's been going on in this country. So I wanted to pull up this clip because this one is something a lot of people are concerned with. And it just ties into immigration crisis is the same as the housing crisis. We cannot have this much of a housing crisis. People can't, unaffordability of homes, too many people in the country, not enough houses, and be bringing this many people into the country. And this guy asked a few questions about how is it possible that this many people are even in the country? Where are they sleeping?
Living. No one is talking about this. I've reviewed the internet to find the answers and I couldn't find any of them. Where are all the new Canadians living? We know the top 3 cities for new Canadians is Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal. The numbers are hard to comprehend.
In the last year alone, there's over 1.2 million new Canadians. We just received the newest Q4 numbers from Statistics Canada, which reports 430,000 new Canadians moved to Canada. There was only 92 days in the fourth quarter of 2023, meaning that...
Listen to this. So he breaks down the numbers of how many people were coming in at any given time. And when you break down these numbers, so you hear a big aggregate number like that, you just kind of get washed away in the numerology of it, I guess. You just hear a big number, okay, whatever, I can't even fathom that. It's a weird thing. It's kind of like, how else can you put it? So psychologically, human beings can only feel like they're so high off of something until you get above a certain point. I think it's just like a biological thing for us. But as soon as you get above a certain point, there's no difference in vertigo from like 10 feet to like the sky's high, right? And actually, once you get to a certain point, you get super high, then it doesn't even register. It doesn't even register anymore. It's crazy how that works, right? Now, think of it the same way with these astronomical numbers. You're talking about debt in the trillions of dollars. You're talking about deficits in the billions of dollars. You talk about immigration in the hundreds of thousands in the matter of months, and it just gets astronomical, and it's really difficult to even fathom what these numbers actually are. So let's get into some of this.
If we take the 430,000 new Canadians divided by 92, we get nearly 5,000 new Canadians every single day.
So 5,000 Canadians per day, 5,000 newcomers per day. Let's break it down even further.
Put this into perspective. On Canada Day, in front of the BC Parliament building, people dressed in red to form a Canada flag. This is what 5,000 people look like. And to put this into even more perspective, a 747-400 has roughly 500 passengers, meaning every 2 hours, 24 hours a day, there is a new plane coming to Canada to one of our airports with new Canadians. I would consider this a floodgate. Now let's take a look at what 400,000 people look like for perspective.
And this US football stadium has 100,000, so 4 times this amount. In Canadian history, we've only been able to deliver 250,000 or less homes per year.
Based on the numbers, we're only...
Did you hear that? 250,000 per year. That was at our best year ever. And we're producing less than that now. We're producing much less than that, and we're bringing in much more than that in people. Like this is just unsustainable. You can't do this. And we all know what's going on. It's all because of this Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme of, well, we're not going to have the money to pay off the people that are owed money from the social safety net. We're not going to be able to do that. It's a Ponzi scheme. They're trying to bring all these people in so that they'll be the new taxed livestock that will pay for the pyramid scheme of Social Security. But what's that going to do to the country? What's that going to do to the country? And I'm not saying I'm not saying any weird conspiracy theories or anything like this. But you bring a bunch of people that are not Canadian. Does it look very Canadian afterward? Like if you more than double the population with people who aren't Canadian, how Canadian does the place look anymore? There's no time for assimilation at this point. And this is just the way it is. And again, I'm not anti-immigrant. My parents are immigrants. My wife's an immigrant. Of course, immigration's great. But yeah, just like the math, you can't do this. You can't pull this off. It's crazy.
Only delivering enough homes for 3 months worth of new immigrants to Canada.
And we have the vacancy rate across Canada at the lowest level ever seen in history.
I'm 100% for bringing in new Canadians. However, I believe we should have a plan in place to house all of these new Canadians. Are we setting up people for failure here? The reason I selected this picture is I believe that people are going to have to live in a gymnasium with bunk beds because they won't be able to find appropriate shelter for their families. This is very concerning.
Without the new Canadians, we would have been in a severe recession for the past year now.
Now, listen to that. If we would have been in a recession for at least a year. So if we were in a recession, well, what would happen? There would be adjustments. There would be market adjustments because this is how recessions work. And we need a recession. Governments just do not want recessions on their watch. And they'll do anything they can to avoid it, including demographic destruction. They'll do that. They'll absolutely do that just to get their numbers looking pretty. So that it looks like they're doing a good job. And this is what Chrystia Freeland's been doing. This is all that stuff. And it's crazy. And then when it all fails, they come in with this idea of socialism. We're going to bring this in and it's going to look great. And of course, they promise you all kinds of stuff. It's going to be great. We're just going to give you more stuff. Where are you going to get the money for it? Where are you going to get the money for it? And all those people, are they even going to stick around? Seriously. Actually, I had a clip. Where was that clip? Because there's this guy, and he's just like, yeah, no, I'm out of here.
Are you moving back to India permanently?
Yeah.
I'll be moving back to
Why?
India. I'm leaving Canada. This is just not the right place for me. Like I've been here for more than 3 years. I've tried a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of stuff. I was in Toronto for 2 years. I was in Winnipeg for 1 year. It just doesn't feel like home. Do you realize you're about to break the internet? It's fine. Like the reverse immigration rate has been the highest I have seen it. Nobody feels good here. Nobody feels like this is the home for them. Like this is a harsh truth. I mean, some people would be happy here as compared to India, but that's not just the case for me. So
The interviewer thinks that he's breaking the internet. This is not news. It's not news at all. People are not happy. They're just not happy. So they're leaving. I mean, this is not, it's actually a trend. It's a trend that this is happening. Steve's Hyde with the $5 super chat. Remember when Trudeau said Canada doesn't have a culture? I remember. This seems a part of the plan. Yeah, it would seem that way. It would seem that way when you have a politician who's adamant about, well, the destruction of our culture, really. At the end of the day, what do you even say to that? I think Pierre Poilievre even was commenting on that with Rex Murphy. Now that you mentioned that, thanks for the super chat. I'll bring this chat up. Rex Murphy and Pierre Poilievre were talking about this specifically. I think it wasn't until right about here. So Rex Murphy brings it up. Are we at that? Oh, is it going to do the loading thing? Twitter does this. I hope Twitter figures out their video format because they got some messed up stuff going on with that.
Values be a prime minister.
Well, I can't.
A logical observation. He said a couple of things.
There we go.
He said Canada has no core values, and secondly, Canada is a post-national state. Now, whether he even understood fully intellectually it was, that's a very strange statement.
Yeah.
We have no core values, and the idea of a Canadian identity outside of some fuzz on the top of a head somewhere. How can a person who believes that we have no core values be a prime minister?
Well, and that's a huge thing. If you don't think Canada has any values, and you don't, like, obviously, and by his actions, you look at it, all of his motivations are for some post-national thing. He's a young global leader with the World Economic Forum. A lot of his initiatives are going towards that goal, and it's going away from national sovereignty. Now, they call it conspiracy theory, and we're going to get into that when it comes to Leslyn Lewis. Why don't I pull this up? Like, this is a liberal ad right now. This is a liberal ad that's out there. Far-right conspiracy groups boost conservative MP petition to remove Canada from the United Nations. Liberal Party tweeting this out. In these challenging times, we need to be focused on working with our global partners. But one of Pierre Poilievre's MPs think we should withdraw from the United Nations. Yes, you're sending us up Schitt's Creek. This is not good. And this is coming from a prime minister, again, who says that we don't have a national identity. We absolutely do have a national identity. And yes, we should get out of the UN. They're not good for us. This is Dr. Leslyn Lewis, MP with the Conservative Party. Over 60,000 Canadians have now signed a petition calling on Canada to protect our national sovereignty by withdrawing from the UN and its subsidiary organizations. The petition remains open for signature until February 7th. Get in there. Sign that petition. Get on it. Because what good is this? I mean, this is the same as Brexit, is it not? It would be the same as Brexit. Why do they want to be in the EU? They were not represented by the bureaucrats that are the EU. Now, here's what Pierre Poilievre had to say to that sentiment.
Well, I can't answer that question. I sure as heck didn't put him there. But I'll go back to what I just said. It serves his ideological objective of wanting the government to control everything. If he can say, well, the country has no identity worth defending, and therefore it is a blank slate at best, and if it's a blank slate, then he can write anything he wants onto that slate, right? And that is effectively what he's done by saying Canada has no history, by deleting our key symbols from passports, by trying to delete
deep apologies for everything,
trying to delete key parts of our history. and our past. By doing that, by saying Canada has either a wretched history or no history at all.
Well, that's Dundas. They're getting rid of Dundas in Toronto. Like of all the things that they're like loosely able to tie to some like supremacy or some colonialism, as if colonialism is a thing and anybody now is like, let's bring colonialism back. It's not happening. Like, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. But what are they doing? They're getting rid of Dundas in Toronto, and they're replacing it with some other thing that turns out was involved in the slave trade. Meanwhile, Dundas, if you know history, Dundas was, you guessed it, an abolitionist. He was instrumental in getting rid of slavery. He was instrumental in the abolition of slavery. We should be celebrating that. But they want to get rid of it. See, the whole thing is it's not about fixing things. It's about dismantling things. That's what they want. They want to demoralize. Yuri Bezmenov talked about this. I was going to play this clip later, but why don't we get into it? There's Yuri Bezmenov talking about demoralization.
The next step is destabilization. Again, this word says for itself what it is: to destabilize all the relations, all the accepted institutions and organizations in a country.
For those of you who don't know who Yuri Bezmenov is, Yuri Bezmenov was a defector from the KGB. He was in there. He was like espionage guy for the USSR and the KGB. He defected and he went to America to talk about what their actual plans were and how they were going to implement it to make communism, bring communism to the West. And they sowed the seeds, and it's happening. It's happening. Even though communism fell there, it's happening here still. Gary Krell with the $5 super chat. Dr. Leslyn Lewis is correct. Tucker Carlson just interviewed a guy by May of this year. The WHO is going to try something. I wouldn't doubt that. I would like to... Which interview was that? Because I want to watch that. He does so many interviews. I just cannot keep up. I just can't keep up. I'm going to go see him in Calgary in a few weeks. Clyde has bot blasters and troll cannons. Do I? I know my mods definitely do. That's the thing. But here's Yuri Bezmenov talking about this.
Of your enemy. On the stage of destabilization, we cannot come to compromise even within a family. The society at large becomes more and more antagonistic between individuals, between groups of individuals, and the society at large. The normal, traditionally accepted relations are destabilized. The relations between teachers and students in schools and colleges fight. The relations in economical sphere between laborers and employers are further radicalized. Radicalization of human relations. No more compromise. Fight, fight, fight.
Get in this fight, and fighting will.
So obviously they're giving American, ideas of this happening, but it's happening here in Canada as well. So these are all cases of them fighting and doing all of this. But we can see these cases here in Canada.
Radicalization, militarization sometimes. The violent clashes are presented as something normal. The media puts himself in the opposition
fiery
to the society,
but mostly peaceful
in general,
protests. I love that. That'll never be not funny. Fiery but mostly peaceful protests after a police shooting. This is serious. This is clown world stuff. And this is how it goes. But then you have people demonstrating that are not radical left, and it's portrayed as this big bad thing. Gary Krell with the $2 super chat. Brett Weinstein interview. Oh, you did Brett Weinstein interview. Okay, cool. I like Brett Weinstein. I do listen to the Dark Horse podcast from time to time. I like what him and his wife have to say. But this is crazy. This is what the media portrays. And of course, you know, the Freedom Convoy, they're radicalists trying to take over the government. They never said anything like that. And that stuff gets boosted out there into the, remember there's the honk honk is an acronym for Hail Mustache Guy. Like, get out of here. And then when they do see real anti-Semitism, they just don't even know what to say. Don't even know what to say about it, because they've said it. They've cried wolf so much that when it actually comes to their door, they don't really know what to do about it.
They were mostly peaceful.
Mostly.
It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
That ain't a riot.
Peaceful and powerful protests.
Destroying property which can be replaced is not violence.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
And
honk honk. Yeah, right.
there are violent clashes between him and police, his group and ordinary people, no matter what. It's black against white, yellows against green, doesn't matter where the division line goes. As long as this group come into antagonistic clash, sometimes militantly, sometimes with firearms, that is destabilization.
That's destabilization, and that's the whole purpose of what they're doing there.
That he is left to control the future, and that comes right out of Orwell. He who controls the past controls the future. If I were to create a political party from scratch, it would be called the Mind Your Own Damn Business Party.
I could get rid of that.
I know people can make the decisions of who they marry, who they date, how they live their lives, but also how they raise their kids. And I think if we had governments at all levels that live and let live, that had a policy of live and let live, a true policy of live and let live, which ironically is what liberals used to say 25 years ago, then we would have so much more social peace, because people could make their own decisions and come to their own conclusions and raise their own families with their own values. And that's why my role as a prime minister is not going to be to impose my values on other people. It's to get out of their faces and run a competent government. They want a government that can deliver a passport, not a government that runs their lives.
What is the...
Yeah, I mean, I could go on and let this play longer, but there's other things to talk about. But yeah, that sounds very liberty oriented, classical liberal, you might call that, libertarian, you might call that. Get out of my way, government. I don't want you in my life. And like I said, the best government would be like the best landlord. The one that never calls you, the one that never raises the rent, the one that never tells you you need more of this. Clyde, where do I find this? I can give you the link. I'll put it in the chat right now. You can watch it there. But yeah, go watch this. I don't know where the full interview was. This was out of the CCFR reposted this. But yeah, again with the gun rights and all of this. But yeah, oh yeah. I think Rex Murphy on his website. Your dad's Fidel after all. Yeah, that's right. But libertarianism is on the rise, and that's the thing. So I don't have the clip handy, but what was it Klaus Schwab was saying a few years ago? He was talking about it. We've penetrated the cabinets. And I know as for a fact that the young global leaders, like in Argentina and in Canada with Justin Trudeau, that at least half of the cabinet is with our young global leaders, he says. Argentina, how's that working out? How is that working out for these globalist types? Well, they're on the run is what's happening. So we are winning this. It's just we need to keep going. Argentina's new president lays off 5,000 government employees hired in 2023 before he took office. Why did he do that? Well, because we don't need them working for the government. And yeah, sad. Sorry, you got laid off. But a lot of these jobs, go work in the private sector. Go work in the private sector. Get a job working for this or that. Most of these government workers are doing not a lot. So this is a thing. Will Kawal Kowalchuk, I hope I get that right, Will Kowalchuk, with a $5 super chat. To help with housing, make container houses. Have you seen them? They rock and cheap, but not allowed. Well, so that's the other thing, is it's the deregulation of the market. I mean, I won't argue against people getting a plot of land and then building their own cheap container houses. The only time I'm against the container houses is when they're making container houses little cubicles to shove people in, because they just want to keep bringing people in the country with unfettered immigration. Absolutely. If you want to build something for yourself and that's what you want, abso-freaking-lutely. There are a lot of people that are into the whole small house idea, and what is it, tiny house, minimalistic living. If that's your cup of tea, you should be free to do that. But if you want to expand it, but yeah, you're right. They're not allowing it because of regulation. This is something we need to cut more of, and I think it would be a lot cheaper if people were able to use materials such as that to build house foundations around. I've seen some pretty cool projects out of that. No one likes the like button, Clyde. Is nobody hitting that like button? Do I have to give the speech? I'll give the speech in a second. I'll give the speech because I wanted to make this point. Here's a tweet that went out a little bit ago. And you can see the whole tweet basically with the chat in there. But N Wokeness put this one out after 18 days of President, I never know how to pronounce his name. Is it Javier Milei? Because they don't pronounce the J's over there. But anyway, Javier Milei was inaugurated in 18 days. What did he do? He eliminated 12 out of 21 cabinet posts. He fired 5,000 government employees, ended $38,000 government regulations. So a lot of those building regulations, bye-bye, don't need them. Permits, permission, stuff like that, red tape, get rid of it. Gone, see you later. Take your own risk, stuff like that. Banned woke language in the military. Why is that even there? Bill to affirm the right of self-defense. We should be able to defend ourselves. It's crazy in Canada that there's even contest about that. Why is it that if somebody enters your home and you defend yourself, they get hurt and somehow you're on the hook for it? Yeah, we need to really we should do something like that here. Bill to legalize homeschooling of kids. I didn't know it was illegal in Argentina. That's crazy. That's how far left they went. Proposal to punish all riot organizers. Yeah, if you organize a riot, sure, be punished. It gets seedy if you get people like Justin Trudeau label peaceful protest a riot, but that's what happens under totalitarian governments. Future welfare cuts for road blocking. I'm actually all in favor of that. If you want to block roads, or commit crimes, I think any welfare in the country should be a thing that's tied to welfare. If you've committed a crime in X amount of time, you're ineligible. You're just completely ineligible. And I'm not talking about like jaywalking. No, I'm talking about like an actual crime, like violent crimes, things like that. You just be ineligible. Legalize paying contracts in Bitcoin. Awesome. Privatization of state-run companies. That's perfect. Open the Argentinian oil industry, which we need to do with our oil industry and our mining sector and our forestries industry. All of these things that should be the lifeblood of Canada, but they're trying to eliminate. They're absolutely trying to eliminate. Penny D with a $10 super chat. We've got to listen to Jagmeet Singh. We'll just build cheaper houses. Sorry, fools, for spelling. You had me there for a second. We gotta listen to Jagmeet Singh. What? Yeah, just build cheaper houses. Because that was his way out of it. I don't know why they keep making expensive houses Why don't you just make cheap ones? Genius over there in the NDP. Amazing. Thank you for the super chat, Petty D. Gary Krill gifting 5 memberships to the channel. If you got a membership in there from Gary Krill, please give a big thank you to him. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really appreciate that. But that's, oh my goodness. Yeah, crazy. That people just have these kinds of ideas. I mean, these ideas are just, I mean, they're lost on me. They're lost on me. You know what? I had this whole idea. I had a whole organization in my head of how I was gonna put this together. I have it all in order, and as soon as I get chatting and talking with you guys, the order is just out the window. It's just right at the window. I want to get right into this clip because the insano ideas that are in people's heads, I don't even know what to say about it. I don't even know what to say. But this is the second in charge for the Green Party of Canada, and this is the insano stuff. I'm going to leave the chat up for this.
There is money in this country, but it's poorly distributed. We've been calling for many years for a guaranteed livable income. This is a great opportunity right now that Canada has. We've got the money. The money is there. We saw just a couple days ago that CEOs in this country have already made in one day more than the average Canadian salary, roughly $60,000 in one day, with average salaries that range around $15 million a year. That is a lot of money, and money needs to be taxed and it needs to be redistributed. Now, the burden of that taxation cannot be on the middle class. It needs to be, and we'd love to see some courage and some determination from our Liberal and NDP friends to actually go and get the money where it is.
Go and get the money
where it is.
We're
not talking about printing new money. We're talking about redistributing the wealth that currently exists in it.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Redistribute the wealth. Redistribute the wealth. Redistribute, that's what the I mean, the linguistic part of it would be that it was distributed and now it wasn't distributed right. Like the wealth existed. That wealth existed and then it went to the wrong people. That's the presupposition there. Now that didn't go to the wrong people. It went to the people who generated the wealth. Now, there are ways of generating wealth. And, I mean, you could be a parasite. You could be this guy, go into government, and you get $1,000 sweater vest. This is the kind of thing. With the pin, of course, that lovely pin. We all know that lovely pin. We've seen that one before. I'll get the chat out of the way so you can see what pin he's wearing. That's a lovely pin, right? That's an absolutely lovely one. Dashing pin. That one's also been seen elsewhere. Yeah. People wearing this badge are destroying your future. Yeah, that's right. UG Ty with a $5 super chat. Let's drive the most productive Canadians out of the country and wonder why the country is failing. Right? Absolutely. UG Ty's a business owner. He knows exactly what this is all about. Are you kidding me? Redistribute. Like this should be a meme that's dead. I mean, how do they honestly, with any semblance of, I mean, how do you even put this? We spent in the previous century 100 million lives to figure out that this is the most dangerous thought process. It's the ideology of envy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Wealth is not just something that exists that everybody can pick off a tree. In nature, we don't just have wealth. We don't live in the Garden of Eden. This is not how it works. You have to toil and you have to organize to gain wealth. You have to build capital. Capital is tooling, things. You have to build these things. And you have to forego consumption in order to get those things. Who does that? Who forgoes gratitude in the moment in order to do that. They call them capitalists. They call them filthy capitalists, these people. I don't want to forego that. I want my money now. You're greedy. How does that work? How absolutely does that work? I don't want to forego and work on something to build a tool, machinery, and have to, go hungry today in order to make that and not consume in the moment. But then the guy who's like, no, I want to eat every single day and I'm not going to take a day off of this. I'm not going to take a day off of that. I'm going to make sure that I have what I have now. And then when I see that you're doing better, that's not fair. What? This is the ideology of envy. It really, really is. And then what do? They chase people out. I mean, Atlas Shrugged was a book written half a century ago by Ayn Rand, and it was an illustration of exactly what these people will do to a society and what takes place. And what is the analogy in that title, Atlas Shrugged? Well, everybody knows who Atlas was, right? Everybody knows who Atlas was. I'll have to search it up, a picture of Atlas. But Atlas was I believe it was the Greek mythology of the god that held the world on his shoulders. Atlas. In mythology, let's get an image of Atlas. Well, it's like things for sale. I don't want things for sale. Just give me the image. Give me the image. Open image in a new tab. Here we go. Here he is. Here's Atlas. Massive. Atlas. Chat out of the way. This is Atlas holding the world on his shoulders. The concept of the book, Atlas Shrugged, was the idea of, what if all the beggars that came asking for things and the ones that are holding all of that on their shoulders, the ones that are the movers in this world, the ones that don't eat today so that they could build a business so that not only they can eat tomorrow, but that they could support the lives of other people through employment. What if those people were to shrug and just let it all go? What would happen to the world? What absolutely would happen to the world? Because it's a scary thing, the state of nature. The state of nature is a scary thing. Who is John Galt? I've seen it in the chat. That's it. You guys know the story. And anyone who doesn't know the story, get out there and read it. Get an audiobook, whatever you got to do. Great story. Really, really inspiring. It was inspiring for me. But the concept here is, what if those people leave? Well, that's happening in Canada. People realize they don't have to go. Now, you have to understand, when the Berlin Wall went up, the Berlin Wall didn't go up because communism was doing good and they wanted to make sure that they didn't have any other people coming in to steal their communism. No, the Berlin Wall went up when communism started to fail. And they were watching people leave. And they were going, hey, this isn't going to work. We need to keep them in. When is the Canadian wall going up? It might come in the form of a digital currency or a digital ID. These are the measures that they need to take, because people are leaving. And that's the equivalent of Atlas shrugging in Canada. This is what we need. So nobody could leave. Yeah, so nobody could leave. That was the concept. But you were allowed to leave. Did you know this? Did you know this? In communist Germany, you were entitled to leave when you retired. You were guaranteed retirement, but on your retirement, they would offer you the gift of getting the F out of communism. That was the gift they would offer. But that's why they had the wall. Holy cow, to keep you in. Steve's Hyde with the $5 super chat. I'll say it again, guys. Please don't leave yet, at least until the election. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I'm absolutely with you on that one, because I do believe we can turn this around. It's not like we're going through communism or socialism for the first time as an experiment. This isn't the first go at it. The world has seen it before, and they've seen the development, and they've seen the stages of it. And there is a way to convince the people of this country that that's the direction that we're going, and that we need to pump the brakes. Realistically, that's what we need to do. We need to pump the brakes and say, guys, we can't do this. You see where it's going? Do you see where it's going? The signs are on the wall, and the rhetoric is coming out full steam. They're not just hiding it behind little catchphrases anymore. The guy's coming out and saying, what did he say right at the end there? It blew my mind that he actually came out and said it.
Our Liberal and NDP friends to actually go and get the money where it is. And
to go and get the money where it is. Give them the strength to go and get the money where it is. Are you kidding me? This is private property you're talking about. This is people's hard-earned private property that you're talking about just going and getting where it is, as if it's yours to take. That's the hubris of that statement is just astronomical. Michael McLean with the $20 super chat. These socialists who pretend to be working class but smooth with the elite globalist class are literally becoming the pigs from Orwell's Animal Farm. Yet another book students won't get to read like I did in 10th grade in 1995. No kidding. No kidding. What grade was I in 1995? Oh, I don't want to give that away. But I was, holy cow. I read these books when I was in school. Absolutely. I read books that are not even allowed in school anymore because the big R word. But these things, it's literary training. We should be reading all of these things. I had to read Margaret Atwood for, oh man. I know she's like a Canadian prize or whatever. I just could not stand it. Margaret Atwood. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it on that one. But yes, this whole the hubris of saying just there's the money, just go and get it. Just they should have the strength to just go on and get the money. Is that's Chavez-esque in my opinion. Like the idea that you could just reach out and grab other people's private property and think not even bat an eyelash at that concept. Like turn it around. Turn it around. Right? Turn that concept around and say it was your private property. You know, you're the socialist, and the other guys are coming over and they're saying, well, we're gonna take your well, no, that's not just. Well, it's not just when it's you that's on the that's being taken from. You know, if you're on the take, then everything's great. It's so much fun to be on the take for that. Unbelievable. It blows my mind that people have, again, such hubris to say these things and say them publicly and with no shame whatsoever, right? And this is it just kills me. It absolutely kills me. So I have a guest tonight. He's going to be popping in for just a little bit here. I'm hearing an echo on his side. If maybe you got headphones or you can pop something in there. So he'll be just a second here, and then we'll get him in. But I want to talk about this because this is our way out of this. And well, I'm hoping so anyway. Our way out of all of this is to, not go further into socialism. Let's move back the other way. I like hearing some of the rhetoric that we're hearing out of, Pierre Poilievre, for example. Pierre Poilievre is coming out and he's saying some things that sound a little bit more libertarian than social conservative, that kind of thing. But that's what I like to see. And if that's the party coming out of Pierre Poilievre, if Pierre Poilievre is pulling forward a new team of people in the conservative movement that's going to move more towards civil liberties, move towards the honoring of private property. I mean, this is something that's absolutely paramount to free, fair, and open societies. Private property, the respecting of private property. This is the biggest thing that the liberals, in my opinion, have been going against, whether it's, trying to make new rules where they can take your property from you, or stepping in and making decisions for you. The ultimate property is yourself. By government decree, by order in council, tell you what medical procedures you have to take. That is something moving in the wrong direction. To see somebody moving more on what I like to say is the liberty-oriented way of things, that seems like a great move. And I have here with me tonight another guy who shares these ideals. Let's move towards a better future where you have more choice in that future. So without further ado, let's introduce for my riding, the Sea to Sky and West Vancouver riding, Marcus Wong. Thanks for joining me tonight, my man.
Hey, thank you so much. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you good. It's all good. I unmuted you for a second there, and I was hearing myself back for a minute. But no, super short notice. Thanks. We went out for coffee, everybody, today, and we were chatting about stuff. And I was really stoked to hear, your opinions on these kind of topics. Like, private property is paramount. It's a big thing.
Pretty paramount. Absolutely. You know what? I'm a freedom-loving conservative. I don't know how else to say it, right? And so I want to be able to bring back that freedom to Canada. Back when I was a kid, and I think we're about the same age, Clyde, Canada was a country that the world admired, that we aspired to be, and we were proud and we cherished that country. I mean, somewhere along the way, we'd sort of lost that. So I want to get us back to that, right? To the glory days, as it were. But we also need to look forward and make sure that we're plotting course ahead, right? In terms of, what we're seeing in terms of happening in the economy, in terms of limiting, our free speech or ability to make choices for our families or our health outcomes. That's pretty crucial stuff, right? And so I want to restore that and give people the power back, right? For your paycheck to spend it where you want, invest it in, whether you want to invest it in a business or your children's education or whatever. That should be your choice, right? And so absolutely.
Totally. And I was telling the chat about something we were talking about earlier today, this concept that the government's like your landlord. And you should look at it. We should have a relationship with our government like you would have a relationship with a landlord. And the best relationship with a landlord is a landlord that leaves you alone. And you never have to talk to, always just does the things that he says he's going to do. You do what you say you're going to do. You pay your bills, you pay your mortgage, you take care of the place, you don't wreck it, and he doesn't bother you. And this is the sort of relationship that you would want to have with government. You pay your taxes and they're not exorbitant. You pay, you get the services that you ask for out of government and no more. You don't want any more, and they leave you alone. They're not in there saying, oh, your drapes aren't the way I'd like them, and you didn't mow the lawn the way I would like you to mow the lawn, and oh, don't hang that thing on the front door. I wouldn't like it if you did that. Could you ask permission next time you did? All of this stuff that we're getting from our government now is just like it's overboard. It's too intrusive.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. So we have to find that balance that we used to have. Right. And so that's absolutely crucial. And I think I heard you talking about, the importance of this upcoming election in 2025, if that's when it's going to be, or maybe sooner if the government falls. So absolutely, it's crucial for everybody to exercise their right to vote, if you're Canadian. And so that's absolutely important. But also in the meantime, what people might not know is that there's a nominations race happening across Canada for the Conservative Party. So essentially what that means is that members of the party will get to choose who represents the party in their riding at the next election, whatever that is, right? And so that's absolutely happening. And so I want to encourage folks that, check out who's running in your riding and see, what they're about, what they represent, their qualifications, all that sort of stuff, because we want to make sure that we have quality people in Ottawa who can really stand up for everyday citizens like you and me, right? And advocate for that and fight for that and say, no, actually, you know what? This is what the residents of my community need and want, and here's why. And, certainly in my riding, I believe that I am the best candidate for that. I'm the only one who's born and raised in the community. I understand our entire riding inside out, like the back of my hand, and I'm passionate about it. These are my neighbors. These are my family members, my cousins, aunts and uncles, and all that sort of stuff. So I want to do them right and come back from Ottawa and say, and look at them in the eye to be like, you know what? I stood up for you. I stood up for your concerns and your issues, and I fought for it, right? And so that's important. There's this relationship between the elected official and the people that I think perhaps sometimes get lost, right? We elect these people, they go off to Ottawa, we never hear from them again. And that's not right. It should be about a relationship, and you keep the dialogue going. And you hear about their concerns, their issues, and say, hey, how can I fix it? How can I help it make it better? Because that's what a public servant is this there to serve the people and help to make their lives better. So absolutely.
So I've been saying this to my whole community here on YouTube, and I call it my community. It's the community here on YouTube. These people are amazing, and it's fantastic. I'm so fortunate to have them with me every week and every time I post a video. But I've been having these conversations with these people and saying, I think the most important thing is that if you don't like the people in parties. Like, say you think, it's the mono party. I keep hearing this, the mono party. You've got this party, that party, this party. Who cares? They're all the same. They all, they're all going to go this way. Well, if you don't like that, change the people in the party. Like, you need to get involved in the party politics. And it's not like once you swear allegiance to one party, you're not allowed to go and talk with the other parties. You can sign up, be part of this party, and you can choose who you want in your riding for that party, and then go to that party and choose your person that you want in that. And this is a great way to change the party. If you think it's a mono party, get in there and pick someone who's not the mono party guy. You can have debate within the party, and that's what I'm trying to encourage people to do. And for this election that we're not even sure when it's going to happen. It could happen in a couple of weeks. It could happen in a couple of months. We don't know. But you have to be registered, and that's the main thing to know. If you want to be able to, you have to get yourself registered, because if there is a snap thing, what kind of window do people even have if there's because there is rumors that something might happen soon.
Yeah, so I don't know about other parties. I can only speak for the Conservative Party, of which I am a member. So for us, what happens is that head office or headquarters will announce for each riding a date for when your vote is. When they announce it, 48 hours after the announcement, membership sales will close. So if you were wanting to vote for somebody to represent your party, that's the time limit. And if you join after that, you can join the party, but you won't be eligible to vote in the nomination. So it's absolutely crucial to getting your vote or your membership rather. And the shortest membership is 1 year, so it's $15, or you can do, I think, up to 5 years, right? So, if you're sort of still learning about politics and learning about different issues, maybe the 1 year membership is a great way to start and sort of get a sense of who the players are, what are their ideas, what are their platform and policy solutions going forward. So, I would certainly encourage folks to get out there. I know in our riding, we've been sort of hearing rumors that announcement may be coming soon. So I've been telling folks who have been to events with me and heard me speak to be like, hey, sign up now, because you don't want to miss it, right? Because if you miss it, you miss it, and that's going to be a huge shame.
And it's 48 hours. I mean,
48 hours, yeah.
Everyone's busy, and I get it. And if if you don't catch up on the news cycle, and I report on stuff every single day, every single weekday. And twice a day usually. So you miss a report, you didn't hear about that thing. You've got 48 hours, and then you're too late. You're too late. You don't get a say in this. So it is a good reminder to get out there and make sure that you're registered. If your thought is to vote in those elections, that's the whole thing. Nobody's forcing anybody to vote one way or the other. It's always just the fact that if you do want to vote and you do want to have your say, make sure that you don't miss the boat, because that boat could sail any minute, and that's the whole idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a funny story, because there's an elderly couple who was texting me. They're like, oh, we want to support you, Marcus, but we're away on holiday, and we'll join when we come back. It's not a big deal, Marcus. I said, no, you don't get it. 48 hours could come and go, and so you might miss it. So I texted them the link, and they're like, okay, we'll do it, Marcus.
So once that 48 hours goes, though, then you have some time to choose who you want to vote for. It's not like you have to make the decision on that in that 48 hours. So
no, absolutely no. Yeah. So
Well, that's great.
So that's just when the process starts. There's a bit of breathing room. So once you join, and of course, it is up to each individual voter to choose who they think is the best candidate. And I'm certainly here to make a plea that I believe I am the strongest candidate, and I encourage you to go check out my website, marcuswong.ca. It's got a lot of information about who I am, my biography, my qualifications, but also what I stand for, which I think is absolutely crucial. I think there's a lot of people who are haven't really thought through what they stand for and how they're going to move forward to help fix things. And that's absolutely an important piece. And so I encourage you to go check it out.
Well, I'm just pulling up the website in the meantime. It's a little different when I'm doing a live show. I gotta make adjustments to the thing. For anybody who's watching this after the fact, it's not as smooth when I'm doing things live. It's not quite the same process. But let's pull this up. We've got marcuswong.ca, the website up here. Here you are with Pierre and his lovely lady. Obviously getting it's not an official endorsement, but it is. Hey, a lot of people like what Pierre is doing. You seem to be talking about a lot of similar things, which I'm encouraged by, especially in British Columbia and our particular region. I know all of Canada is dealing with this, but our particular region, housing is such a big issue. It is massive here, and I can't understate that at all. And the measures I think that the Liberals and the NDP have been doing, like NDP in British Columbia under the province, but the Liberals are putting this out forward. I think they're making big mistakes because they're trampling over property rights. And I know people, their knee-jerk reaction, for example, what the NDP did here, to basically anyone who does Airbnb on a separate piece of residence, they're going to get these exorbitant fines. And the Liberals are like, yeah, we're going to do that too. Instead of looking at regulation and saying, oh, did you know that Airbnb is regulated different than the hotel industry and they've got a leg up on other businesses? How about we just even the playing field and maybe it won't be as lucrative? Different ideas. It's not, but the knee-jerk reaction is to get that win, like we're punishing the bad, owners, and I think that's a wrong approach. I think the best approach is to protect property rights, move forward with that in mind first and foremost, and then look for reasonable solutions that aren't harming one group and benefiting another group instead of actually just trying to benefit all Canadians across the board, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big believer in collaboration and problem solving, and so that's why becoming a member of Parliament really appeals to me, because I want to go fix things. I want to go make it better, so that the lives of my neighbors and friends and all that sort of stuff are better. And essentially, your community is improved. But I also believe in incentives and really enabling people to make the right choices without restricting them, right? And I think that's a crucial piece. And we talked about that during coffee. Is that how can we create incentives for people to help us find the solutions we need, whether it's for housing, whether it's for job creation or for starting businesses, all that sort of stuff, right? And so there's a sort of a creative element, shall you say, that's been missing. Instead of taxing us to death and hoping that somehow fixes things, let's actually move the dial. Let's find policy solutions that actually address the issues and actually get us further instead of just sort of like mucking about in the mud here.
Yeah, absolutely. I find it's like an opposite thing when you look at what Liberals or NDP are doing, or the Greens go way over into left field with them. I was calling them watermelons tonight. But what they do is disincentives. So they, the whole process is, well, we're going to punish people that are doing well in a certain way. Instead of incentivizing good behavior. Why don't we cut regulation for this kind of business and we'll see more of that, instead of we don't like what these people are doing, let's punish them. It always comes down to that. And it's always limit freedom, limit people's ability to enjoy the fruits of their labor, enjoy the property that they've acquired over their lifetime. And it's always a punishment aspect, but it's always brought forward in this idea of altruism. We're doing it for the right reasons. We're punishing you for your own good. Like, what are we doing? I can't stand it. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. So there's a fundamental difference in ideas of how we want to make the country better, right? And so I think that's why it's crucial that we have a majority government conservative one in the next election. And that's why it's also crucial to make sure that we have the right candidates who will become the right MPs, right? Because, Pierre is great, he's got great ideas, but he also needs a team, and a majority team in Parliament who can really bring ideas to the table and speak up for the community, right? Because otherwise then, we don't have the tools that we need to build the house, as it were, that we need, right? And so I'm a big believer that we need to have quality MPs. So I certainly want to encourage folks to think long and hard to be, okay, who can actually do the job? Who will actually bring the policy to the table and help make Canada better? In addition to, of course, winning the campaign and, winning your riding. That's absolutely important. But, let's not forget about the governing piece as well, which is absolutely important.
And the kind of guy who could ring you up and say, "You want to go for a coffee?" I mean, like,
absolutely, right? Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And to find out for the audience here, we got yakking. Half the time we were talking about food because it turns out we're both foodies.
Yes.
And I'm really into barbecuing, but I'm also really into Japanese food because I used to live in Japan, and you've been to Japan as well, and lots of different Asian foods, and I'm a huge barbecue guy, so I'm gonna have to have you over for a barbecue sometime. I got to show you how it's done.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah. I mean, like, food is such an integral part of community, right? And that's what I'm also all about. I'm about community building, and so much community happens around food, right? So, one of my great ideas is that, obviously, as a member of Parliament, I want to keep this relationship going with the community, with everyday citizens, and maybe it's over food, right? Everybody come over for a community barbecue, and let's talk about the issues. What are the things, that you want to see fixed or addressed, or what's going well, what's not going well, and have that ongoing relationship. So that when I go to Ottawa, I can say, hey, bam, 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 these are the things in our community, and here's how we're going to fix it. And I've heard from so-and-so from this community, from that community, and here's how we can work together. And hey, you MP in Saskatchewan and Nova Scotia, maybe we can collaborate on this and come up with a great policy, right? And that's actually when really cool things happen and moves us forward and makes the country better and brings innovation to the table, right? Canada used to be that country.
Yeah.
We somehow lost our way, and we need to find it back, man, because otherwise things are not going to go well.
Well, we're the same people. We're the same people. We can get it back. We can have it back.
We have it in us. And so, I'm a big believer, and I've always said this to my team, my family, my friends, that, Canada is not just my country. It's not just your country. It's actually our country. Mm-hmm. And so we actually have a moral imperative to work together and find common ground, find common solutions, and solve the problems of the day, right? Put aside the petty differences and say, okay, what is actually best for us as a country, as a community? And if we can really focus our energies into that, man, do you know what we're going to achieve? It's going to be pure greatness.
Yeah, I think it could be fantastic. So, like I said, get out there, everybody. Get out there if you want to vote in these elections, in the party elections. You have to be registered. Make sure that you don't forget. Get out there, register. Don't forget to check out marcuswong.ca. Great place to. Zoom right back up. marcuswong.ca.
There we go.
Get over there. Check it out. Obviously, people are in different ridings. Check out who's looking to become the conservative contender in your riding or whatever party. Just get in there because you can't make a difference. You can't make a change. You can't do something unless you've done something. Get out there, give it a go, and make sure you do that. I want to thank you so much, Marcus, for coffee today, as well as coming on the show and just talking. Be candid. We need to see more of that from our political class in this country. And when I get that, I feel warm heart, and I want to see more of this.
Thank you so much. Thanks. You've been great, and I've loved hearing your ideas as well, because you're such a creative thinker. And so, obviously, post-election, when I win, I'd love to continue this dialogue, and let's have those ideas coming. And I don't know if you do this with your audience, but if you ever do meetups, with your audience, maybe we should do a meetup. Hey, you and me and folks from the community, and let's go have coffee, or let's go for beer, or I don't know, whatever. We can figure something out, and let's talk about the issues of the day and how we can all work together and get this going.
I could, let's make that happen.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, brother. We'll see you very soon, and thanks so much for joining.
Cheers. Okay, bye now.
Man, that's awesome. It is so awesome when you get a good guest to come in and you know, it's amazing to see people that are just as enthusiastic of this stuff and are in positions to actually do something about it. That really, it really gets me energized on this stuff. And it, you know, because there's been a lot of black pilling lately. There's been a lot of people, you know, oh, there's nothing we could do. We're not going to do anything. It's all over. So what then? Lay down and go to sleep, buddy. Like, what do you want me to say? If you're going to do something, if you're talking about doing something, you want to change, get involved, talk to people. Yeah, I mean, you know, things happen. You vote for this guy. You hope he's going to do that, whatever. But you're not going to get the people that you want in unless you get involved. You're not going to get to know these people and actually say, I do like this guy. If you don't like, go and start a dialogue and talk to these people. Penny D with a $10 super chat. We have to be careful not to get involved with the division of this government. We need to stick together. We can do it. We can do it. We absolutely can do it. And that's why, you know, when they use divisive things, you always got to put that in mind. You always got to put that in mind. Like, I know there's like contentious things that are happening elsewhere in the globe and people have allegiances to those places. But I've got to say, like, you know, where are your allegiances? Are they here or are they in that faraway land? Because, you know, at the end of the day, anybody who came over here is here because they want to get away from that faraway land. It would be great. It would be absolutely great if we could join together. Perhaps you can heal that thing in this place and bring things together. Because I just don't see bringing conflict into all of this stuff, especially conflict that has nothing to do with Canada. It doesn't help. It doesn't help, and it's just going to divide people. And what for? I don't have animus towards anybody except people who want to destroy this place. And yeah, I'll have animus against them, but I'll fight to make sure that they don't get a position of being in charge. No UBI. Well, that's part of it. I want to make sure that doesn't happen, because that will really, I mean, that's something that'll destroy this place. Like, you talk about the hubris of the Green Party leader guy. What was his name again? Let's pop him up. Because I want, what do you even say this? Jonathan Pednault. Pedno? Is it Pedno? Is it like Gibo? Like Gwilbalt? Gibo? Is it Jonathan Pedno? Maybe. Now, you read his bio. I love it. There's nothing in here about it in his entire bio. I know the chat disappeared. Sorry. There's nothing in here in his entire bio talking about anything green. It's all about like war and atrocities and things that divide people. This is this guy. And what does he do? He takes the stage. And he pits people against each other right away. Like, he's the rich versus the poor, the rich versus the middle class. The middle class need to take money from the poor, the rich. And what happens? They chase them away. People are quite mobile these days. Even the middle class. That are leaving the country. Michael McLean with a $5 super chat. Socialism crushes innovation and joy. We need to stop being cruelly kind and start being moral and rational again. Thanks for all your work this week, Clyde. Well, thank you, Michael McLean. Yes, we need to be, I like that. I like the way you put that. We need to stop being cruelly kind and start being moral and rational. Because cruelly kind is, you know, is like, it's the don't feed the bears, you know, thing. Don't feed the wildlife thing. Like, you give the bear a snack. You give them some food on the side of the road, but then they become dependent on that stuff. How cruel is it to make people dependent? And of course, it's a tactic of narcissists. They want you to be dependent. They want you to be dependent on them. That's their tactic. That's what they're looking for. And yeah, it's cruel. It's cruelty. It's cruelty to make people dependent. And it's, you know, teaching, this is why it's so important to have family structure, and this is why socialists love to destroy it. Because a father and a mother will teach you nurture and dependence. These are the things. A mother will teach you nurture, a father will teach you independence. And without those things, without both of those things, you need both of those things in your life, things could get rather difficult. Now, this is a pretty good analogy. This woman on TikTok, she put this video together with this story of a college classroom, and I love to share this one with you guys.
Let me tell you a scary story.
Never mind the music. Just ignore the music. It's hokey, but the story's great.
An economics professor at a local college made a statement that she had never failed a single student before, but had recently failed an entire class. The class had insisted that socialism worked, that no one would be poor and no one would be rich, a great equalizer. The professor then said, okay, we will have an experiment in this class. All grades will be averaged and everyone will receive the same grade. No one will fail, but no one will receive an A either. After the first test, the grades were averaged and everyone got a B. The students who studied hard were upset, and the students who studied little were happy. As the second test rolled round, the students who studied little studied even less, and the ones who studied hard decided they wanted a free ride too, so they studied little. The second average test result was a D. No one was happy. When the third test rolled round, the average was an F. As the test proceeded, the scores never improved, as bickering, name-calling and blame all resulted in hard feelings, and no one would study for the benefit of anyone else. To their great surprise, all failed. And the professor told them that socialism would ultimately fail, because when the reward is great, the effort to succeed is great. But when the government takes away all the reward, no one will try or want to succeed.
That's it.
And that is socialism, my friends. A race to the bottom.
Absolutely is a race to the bottom. Churchill on socialism. Socialism of philosophy is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. That's where you're going to get your equality, is in misery. But of course, there's the ruling class in that. And it's astonishing to me that the ruling class would even want this. I mean, if you look at it, the ruling class in like Soviet Russia, for example, the ruling class in, you know, Mao's China, do you think they were living exorbitant lives? They were compared to their impoverished people. But if you look at presidents in past history, they didn't live exorbitant lives, not like Biden does these days. But in past history, you have, you know, older presidents. It wasn't that lavish compared to other people, but it got more and more lavish as the population grew in the United States. The same thing in Canada with prime ministers up until recent times. And this is, I mean, the first Trudeau, I think, changed a lot of that. But look at all of the innovation that came out of North America. Look at all the innovation that came out of the free world, free countries where people were able to do stuff. What do they boast about in Soviet Russia? I mean, not a lot. Tetris. What do they boast about in communist China? And this is a funny thing, because China throughout history has tremendous accomplishments. Not really anything as soon as socialism hit the street. Not when they got Mao. Not a lot of accomplishments coming out of that place anymore. Yeah, well, Tetris. A funny story about Tetris. It was the guy who created it never got a penny for it. Not up until he's a spoiler of a story, I guess. But he worked for the communist state, and it was his job to make a game. And yeah, he just made it. And then it was actually a really, really difficult thing to get the rights for Nintendo for the longest time when they actually put it out, because nobody owned it. Nobody owned the rights. And when they tried to get the rights out of communist USSR, when they tried to buy the rights, nobody even knew who owned it. That's how crazy it was. They had to really search and search and search. Long story short, the guy who ended up, he did make it, he ended up defecting out of Soviet Russia, ended up living in America. And when they did, somebody did find out who owned the rights, and well, it was the Soviet state, and the Soviet state relinquished the rights. He ended up somehow buying the rights. So that guy ended up, at the end of it all, bought the rights. But after all, the millions and millions have been made on Tetris. But I think anything new that comes out, if he owns the rights to it, which is a crazy, crazy story at the end of the day. Trudeau's plane broke down in Jamaica. Well, I'm hearing about this. I don't actually have the story up for that. That's crazy. Where was I gonna go? I had another slide that I wanted to show, and this was Margaret Thatcher. I mean, she's not. I don't know why she doesn't get the credit for being first female prime minister of England. I mean, obviously she gets the credit, but nobody's boasting about it. Nobody's boasting about it. But I put this on Twitter saying true words never lose their value. They only go in and out of relevance. And right now, these words are very relevant. This is a thing. The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. Margaret Thatcher. Absolutely. You will eventually run out of other people's money. And then what happens? We all share in the misery. Online freedom fighters, Clyde and Scotty. Are you talking about Scotty, you Ottawa Scotty? I love you Ottawa Scotty. He's a great guy. He's an awesome dude. I was in his chat just around New Year's time. That was great. It was table 19, right? Oh, I miss that guy. I'd love to have him on again sometime. Hey, she stole my quote. Yeah, your quote, Peter. That was, yeah, Pete. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to get into this story before we end it for the night. Because I got a little bit of time left. I've got a little bit of time to go. I wanted to talk about this because this one just blew my mind. Absolutely insano stuff that you see in these lefty cities in Canada. We all know Victoria is probably the wokest city in Canada. Well, they've got a new thing right now, and Aaron Gunn, who I chatted with earlier today. I wanted to see if he wanted to come on because I know he won the nomination to run as the Conservative in his riding. It happened a little while back. I think the incumbent was retiring, so they had an election and he won. And I was waiting until after that to have him on, but now he's busy with a bunch of other stuff too. So we'll have him on soon. But he pointed this one out because this is just crazy to me. So this is on Vibrant Victoria, and of course you got this picture of this wee lady standing in front of a truck, all angered, like, right? She can't be happy that there's a truck around. You got to walk right up to its grill and take it on face to face. I mean, obviously nobody in the truck and nobody driving it, but she's taking it on face to face. But here's the whole thing. Large vehicles in downtown Victoria lead to calls for big truck ban. Do you think large vehicles like pickups should be banned from the streets of downtown Victoria? Some residents have taken to social media to post photos of the big-wheeled offenders and call for their removal from city streets. Victoria resident Nell Saba, am I pronouncing that? Or is it Nell Saba? Nell Saba posted this image to her X account, bringing attention to the big truck debate with over 660,000 views. That's really not much for Twitter, like, to be honest. You really got to go by the likes and the comments. But whatever, that just means that Twitter put it in people's feeds. If you roll past something, that's a view. Anyway, Other users have posted similar images calling for the removal of such trucks from downtown streets. Should large vehicles be banned from downtown core? Let us know in the comments below. Yeah, a lot of people just saying they're a joke. Anyway, well, their comments, that would be on the Facebook page. But so obviously Aaron Gunn took exception to this, and it's pretty funny. Wow, activists are now pushing cities in Canada, this case Victoria, to ban pickup trucks from entering the downtown. Another dumb, ignorant, and elitist proposal from the usual suspects who probably haven't worked a real day in their life. Penny D with the super chat, $15. Thanks, Clyde, for always giving us a terrific show. You're doing the voice thing, and now you got me laughing again. Have a great weekend. Yeah, okay, sorry. I mean, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, I'm doing the voice thing. I can't help it. I read these hoity-toity, like, up their own butt city dwellers, and I just can't help it. It just sounds so ridiculous to me that it just comes out as that. So thank you so much for the super chat, Penny D. But so I had to reply to this, obviously. They should just get right to the point and ban plumbing and electrical repairs in their homes and businesses. No need to beat around the bush. Like, why would you ban trucks when really the result of that, you just get right to the result. Ban trade workers from coming and fixing your stuff. Like, how about that? How about you just ban groceries from getting into the supermarkets? How about you just ban, like, what are you doing? So ill-minded, well, not well thought out, just complete dumas. I also proposed in the video that I did this morning that perhaps they make a drop box for people's broken plumbing. You just drop off your broken plumbing, and a plumber will come over and put fixed plumbing in there, and then you can go and fix it your damn self. Or perhaps you put your broken drywall in there, and a drywaller will come over with a new sheet and do this. Of course, outside the city limits will be the drop boxes, but at your home, sorry, we're saving you from having to see big trucks in your neighborhood. Steve's Hyde with the $5 super chat. Even Karl Marx once said that who calls themselves a communist is an idiot. Not joking, you guys. You could look it up. I'm going to have to look that up. He said some awful things, though. Maybe draw your attention to some letters that he had with Engels, where he talked about other ethnic groups. He didn't really have nice things to say about those ones, but for all these people that love Karl Marx and all the things that he had to say, whoa, you probably wouldn't be keen on his ideas on that stuff. Anyway, getting into this. So this is the Vibrant Victoria. I gotta scroll to find it. Anyway, I read the post. That was the original post. But this is where it gets even funnier. You get into they actually had an article on vicnews.com. Ban them! Victoria residents fed up with ginormous trucks in the downtown core. Oh, goodness. How about you see those utility vehicles? Those things like a guy might be working on a pole, or maybe he's inside fixing somebody's pipes, or perhaps he's doing something for the local business. Maybe he's one of those guys who installs kitchens for one of those, I don't know, places where you get your avocado toast. I don't know, what have you. But he's fixing the avocado toaster in your local coffee shop, whatever, your barista, so you can have your cappuccino extra soy, whatever it is. Yeah, you still need people to fix the machinery, to do these things. These people are so ill-sighted or short-sighted. They just can't see past the end of their own nose. It's crazy. But here we are with this article. So of course it starts off with an angry photographer. You can feel the tremble or the tremors in his hand as he's angrily photographing that truck that's hanging out of the parking space, because probably the utility section or something like that, or the big car spaces, is occupied by somebody's Prius, or they don't use Priuses anymore. The hoity-toities have to have something new because, disposable things. They don't renew anything. They don't reuse things. it's got to be new, or you keep up with the Joneses, right? Got to keep up with the Joneses. You wouldn't reuse something for many years. No, those go. Apparently, all the Priuses are out on the island now, and they're like retiring in some small communities where people are actually rebuilding them, and it's a thing. It's just like a little cottage industry on the island with that stuff. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. Trahamchuk. I hope I got that right. Faye Trahamchuk with the $6.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for the donation. Really appreciate that. Let's get into this article. Let's dive into this. That's obviously really mean to do. Somebody could not be watching where they're going, trip on the bumper, get a soy latte right to the chest. Danger. You might get burns. Or ruin your newest Lululemon outfit that you were gonna go stretched in. I don't know. The photo attached to the story is of a large pickup truck. Thanks for the description. It is a large pickup truck that has its box dangerously sticking out into the road. Yeah, that's a thing. Does that look like it fits in that space? Asks Tim Bracken, Busybody Bracken, who posted it on X, the site formerly known as Twitter. Probably the most off-road driving this thing will ever do. Now you have to understand, like, these trucks, they're 4x4 because we live in British Columbia, and half the time, especially if you're in Victoria, you might actually need 4x4 because it's mountainous. There's other things. Trucks need 4x4. Perhaps, and some of them are lifted off the ground. They have lifts because they have to go up to like landings and stuff where log sorts and all these things happen. I know a buddy of mine, he's an electrician. I'm like, why did you need a lift on your truck? He's like, you realize some of the places I gotta go? Oh, okay, fair enough. Absolutely. Will Kowalchuk with a $5 super chat. I'm an electrician and I drive a truck, and some streets are heard, but always get the job done. Some streets are heard? Are you saying hard? Sorry. I'll read it exactly how it's written. I'm really bad with typos. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Will, I really appreciate it. But yeah, electricians need big trucks. You can't just have a little tiny thing, especially on the West Coast. You'll get people say, like, well, you're just a worker. Why do you need the whole big back seat and the back of the truck? Well, because you need the back of the truck for things that go in the back of a truck, and then in the wet coast, you need the back seat for all your tools. The seat goes up, all your tools go there. You don't want to get them wet. And then the other thing is theft. You want them in there where you can lock it up. That's the thing. This is just like, people just don't get it. They don't get it because they don't do this work, but they also don't empathize, which is a thing. The post was accompanied by the hashtag ban oversized trucks. Like, why are we banning everything? Why is the knee-jerk reaction to ban stuff? If somebody says to you ever, there ought to be a law. Like, no, we got enough of them. We got a lot of laws. There's a bunch of laws. And what are you going to tell me? Right after you say, there ought to be a law, you're going to say there ought to be a law against people doing things with their own private property in public spaces, right? That's generally the gist of where people go with that. So I'm going to say, no, mind your business. And there ought to be a law, but people say there ought to be a law. They're really, it's crazy. Michael McLean with the $5 super chat. Ban slow cyclists who waste the entire advanced green traffic light pumping their vegan-powered legs at morning and evening rush hour. LOL. Yeah, okay. That's funny. That's really funny. What are they doing in the... Okay. Right on. Righto. Too funny, though. That really is funny. The truck isn't pulled in the full way in the spot. Those spots are narrow, and those there is a post pillar you're supposed to pull up to, but people lock bikes to them. You know what? That's funny because he's not showing where the post pillar is. maybe there's bikes locked to it and he couldn't get all the way in. So, and they get into it here with the whole cyclist thing. It's funny. The idea of a ban is likely to never go anywhere. I'm glad you figured that out. But there is a lot of people who live and work in downtown Victoria who love the idea because they say oversized trucks are a menace in the area that isn't designed for them. It's not designed for them. It's designed for us. We're the ones it was designed for. It's been here this whole time for us. You know, since the founding of Victoria and when they first started putting streets on, it's not like the streets are narrow because they were originally made for horse and carriage. You know, it's not because they didn't have automobiles at the time when they laid things out. No, it was made for us and our BC clats. That's what they had in mind. That's absolutely what they had in mind. Get out of here. This is not what they had in mind. No, they didn't. And it's not designed for you. It was designed for the public. It was designed for the public. It's just, it happened to be the public were using other things, and now they're using different things. Steve's Hyde with a $5 super chat. Fun fact about laws. It is still technically illegal to eat ice cream in Ottawa on Sundays, at least on Bank Street. What? Why? Some of these laws have dumb reasons. I know there was a law in the books, it probably still is in the books, in Toronto, that if you're walking your pig south on Yonge Street, traffic has to stop for you. But if you're walking your pig north, you're to be stopped and arrested on it. They just wrote the law like that because there was no way to, like, another way to just straight up say the slaughterhouse is at the bottom of Yonge Street. Nobody walks away from a slaughterhouse with a pig. I don't know why they wrote laws like that. It's ridiculous. You're killing it tonight, bro. Steve's. Yeah, you are. Do I have to do the spiel about the likes? No, you guys are catching up. You know that the likes do a tremendous favor to the channel. If you hit that like button, it tells other people that like similar kinds of content to you, even people who've never heard of the channel. Amazingly, because you know you guys are watching all kinds of other stuff on the internet. Maybe they don't even know about the channel. But if you hit that like button, what it does is it tells YouTube that, hey, people who like those channels will probably like this channel too. So they'll recommend it to other people that are on the other channels and they're doing all the other things. And all this, blah, 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 blah. It works that way. This is how it works. And I appreciate it every time you do. Hit that like button. You will not be sorry. Penny D with the $5 super chat. I need these laughs. I'm crying. Thanks so much. All right. I'm glad we can share a laugh together tonight. Because these people are great to have a laugh at. If you find any stupid articles like this, send them my way. Because I love reading this stuff out loud. I mean, it's like the hubris. I've used that word so many times tonight. Just the gall of somebody to be like, this was not made for you. You know, it's made for me. Like, what? Clyde, do everything. Wow, that's something. I don't know if I could ever pull that off. I'll try. I'll just keep doing something until everything's hit. Oh, good evening, everyone. Drew, you're late, but thanks for coming. But yeah, the idea of a ban is likely never to go anywhere, but there are a lot of people who live and work in downtown Victoria who love the idea because they say oversized trucks are a menace. And in an area that isn't designed for them, whatever. The implicit thing in that statement is that they're designed for the person writing this, because I'm a user of this thing. You know, more and more, Victoria is turning into a place that is made for pedestrians and cyclists. Oh, so it's okay. What was it designed for, and now what is it being redesigned for? Okay, in the same thing. With new bike lanes being added every year, many downtown streets that were designed decades ago can barely handle today's cars and SUVs, with little to no room for larger pickup trucks. maybe you designed it wrong. Maybe this whole idea of bike lanes without maybe shrinking the sidewalks, maybe you got to do something else. You need room for trucks. If you can't fit a truck down a street in Victoria, how in the hell are you going to get a fire truck down there when your place catches on fire because you burnt your avocado toast? Seriously, how are we going to save your ass? How are we going to do it? How's the ambulance going to come following up to put you in a stretcher because you're verklempt, because you've never seen your house go up in flames like that? You had no idea that somebody needed to clean the toaster. I just didn't know. I didn't know this was a thing. You clean toasters? That's a thing. Or when you get an avocado hand. Have you heard of this? Have you heard of this? This is a thing. I didn't know. You talk to a paramedic, they'll know what avocado hand is. Apparently, people, for some reason, when they first started eating avocados, they cut them, you do the thing, you cut them in half, and then you pop them in half and you go with the knife to get the seed out, right? And then for some reason, what people do, and I don't know why they do this, the flesh on an avocado is super soft, but they just go, right? They just go right into the thing, and then they give themselves the stigmata. It's insane. I don't know why they do it, but it's a thing that happens a lot. That's an excellent trucking point. Yeah, the fire trucks, got to get in there. Dry soy is flammable. Oh, that's funny. So, but that's the thing. So how are we going to get in there, save yourself while you got the stigmata and your toaster's on fire? How are they going to get the fire truck down there if you don't allow trucks and your streets are too narrow because of the bike lanes? How are they going to save you? How are they going to save you? If they got to put you in a tourniquet, say you went all full out, you cut yourself in the leg, and they got to pull your moose knuckle pants off to save your life. Come on, you've been cycling all day. You just came home for some avocado toast, and I'm going too far with this, am I? All right, let's get on with this. There's no room for larger trucks. I say ban them, says Colin Smythe, who moved to Victoria a few months ago and already wants to run the show. I love this. They're filling all the tropes. They're filling out all the tropes. I love these people. It's endless humor. It's endless humor. What I love about the downtown Victoria streets is many of them are now designed for cyclists. What, since a couple of months ago? That's what we should be looking at, not allowing oversized trucks. Those things are dangerous. Outside of the downtown core is fine, but get rid of them. Get rid of these beasts. The beasts. Oh my goodness. What? What are you saying? Okay, first, I'm new and I want to change your place. I want to change the place. I'm new. I want to run the show. Hey, guess what? Oh, hey everybody. Here, Colin Smythe. How you doing? First time here? Yeah, I just moved to the neighborhood. Now let me tell you how we should run the thing. How we should run the place. Let me tell you how it ought to be. And I'll tell you something. I'm glad things have turned around in the last several weeks. Long time no see. Those old streets that didn't have bike lanes, since they painted them in a couple of weeks ago. I mean, those bike lanes have been there for at least 50% of the time that I've lived here. Michael McLean with the $5 super chat. Clyde has Uncle Hack to comment on his what? Clyde asked Uncle Hack to comment on this article in his podcast. You want laughs? Let him take these fools on. Yes, Uncle Hack needs to read this. I need to go on Uncle Hack's podcast and introduce this article so the two of us can go back and forth on it. I gotta talk to him. I seen that he's on the road though. He's got a bunch of dates planned. That's funny. That's fine. Look at all the avocado toast in the chat, right? The bikes. You guys are cracking me up. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I've had Uncle Hack on the show before. Hack is awesome. I went and saw him live at the Stampede. It was a bunch. He was actually emceeing the thing, so he went on a few times. Didn't do his full stand up. I'd love to see him do his full stand up. Too funny. Call it Citizen State Clyde made a clip time for it. Oh, did you make a clip for it? For people that don't know, with these live streams, there's a clip button down below. I don't know where exactly, but it's down below. It's like next to the join, all of that stuff, or the closed captioning, all that stuff. And you can clip sections of the live stream and save them, so you can have a link that goes right to that thing. Clyde, thank you for sharing this. The hubris. Oh, I'm not done. I'm not done. This article's not finished. It's just getting funny. It's getting funny. Let's get into this. I'm just gonna leave the chat up so you guys can read the chat as it's going, because it's just too funny. So dude who just moved to town and says he's gonna run the joint. I just love what the downtown streets of Victoria is. Many of them are now designed for cyclists. That's what we should be looking at, not allowing oversized trucks. Those oversized trucks, they're such a menace. Those things are so dangerous. Outside of the downtown core is fine, but get rid of these beasts. Why are they dangerous? They're trucks. They're just trucks. Yeah, oh man. I'm sure this guy, why is he afraid of big things? I'm sure he's familiar with big things. Okay, not going there. I'm not going there. One person who would likely agree is Nell Saba, who regularly posts photos online of her standing in front of oversized pickup trucks. Nell Saba. I got Nell Saba. It sounds like the name of a beautician salon. Will Kowalchuk with a $5 super chat. Clyde, please say it to. Well, please say thank you to you and NP. I'm thinking Northern Perspective for all you do for all in chat. Oh, thank you so much. You know my dyslexia just destroyed my ability to read that, right? Clyde, please say TY to you and NP. I'm gonna say thank you to me, and I'll say thank you to Northern Perspective for sure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. My dyslexia. All the avocado toast. It's hilarious. Okay, so yeah, Nell Saba. Let's get Nell Saba's Twitter up, because she's sticking it to the man by posting these photos of her in front of trucks. Look at that big mean truck. It's a 2500 Dodge. They're big. What do you want? What do you want? I don't even think that's like maybe it has a leveling kit. It doesn't even look that raised. Just the 4x4s are just big. It's just the way it is. Don't go there, Clyde. No, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. But let's look at the profile. Nell Saba. That's a Nell with a mission. That's a Nell on a mission. For sure. Just a dildo with a $5 super chat. Did you see the face swap Trudeau tampon advert today? I did, on Marty's channel, or on his Twitter. I did. I replied, gross. That's gross. We're looking at a different mission. Passive aggressive backpack. Cars ruin cities. Cars are in cities. You know, they're so bad. They're really in cities. You know, people come to the city in cars, and then they build the cities with trucks and cars, and then they populate the city all because of cars and trucks, and it's so convenient. And then I get there, and I don't like that they're there, and I'm gonna stop them from being like, what are you doing, lady? Like, get out of here. Cars ruin cities. You know what? people ruin cities. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of people end up leaving cities because of people like this. And then you're left to your city. You get your city. I mean, Victoria might end up one of those cases. But is Victoria really even a city? I mean, there's a city center. Yeah, anyway, cars throughout cities. It's so horrible. Why would they do that? Oh, here we are. Oh, Chris Campbell, the author of this, wrote a thing about this. A YouTuber talked about it. So here's a funny thing. So they came out and they put a barrier. They put a barrier so you can't get closer to the curb. Yeah, they make long trucks. This guy's got a truck. It's with a job box on it. You think this is just a vanity thing? Oh, yep, that's what she says. This vanity truck can't bean fit. What? Your vanity grammar sucks. This vanity truck can't bean fit in the parking space. Great. That's where we're going. What is this? Reverse 2 feet, that's all. Okay, so she's a total busybody. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's getting even funnier. Okay, so all she does is go around and passive aggressively take photos of people with bad parking. That's not her, is it? Sorry. So what's the complaint here? Spotted. What was spotted? Oh, Santa? Okay. Oh, okay. We're getting into a timeline of just whoopty. You know, who cares? Oh, wow. You can either design bike lane barriers that protect cyclists and damage cars, or you protect cars and damage cyclists. You think this happened because of a car purposely doing that? What would you prefer? The person who's going like fast in a car, smash into something, bodily injury, all that stuff, or a cyclist that might, I mean, obviously you're taking sides on that. I don't know. This just seems like a busybody. Why am I getting into her tweet collection? Let's get back to the article. Anyway, back to the article. Recent post drew a lot of responses. These trucks are so dangerously absurd to the point I will no longer even consider purchasing another normal vehicle from the companies that sell them, wrote one person. Then don't. Then don't. Then don't. So, like, Dodge makes big trucks, so I'm not going to buy a Jeep. Well, you're a city dweller. You wouldn't like that. Well, I'm not going to buy a minivan. You probably won't anyway. Well, did they have anything on the lineup that I might like? Just don't. No, they don't. Oh. This Nissan is huge. I'm not going to buy a Leaf. Okay, don't buy a Leaf. Get over it. Michael McLean with a $5 super chat. They don't hate trucks. They just hate what trucks represent. Work. They hate work. They hate dad is what they hate. They hate dad who used to work. That's what they hate. They got daddy issues. And yeah, they hate work. Of course they hate work. I bet you not. I bet you every one of these people have soft hands, especially like right in this region. I bet you like if you shook their hand and you felt their, like, what do you call that part of your hand right at the top of the palm? I bet you it's just like doughy. It's like, oh, soft, like like a baby's cheek. One of those. So let's get on with this. We'll bring the chat back. I'll read this. You guys can be in the chat. I won't buy anything, so don't. In Europe, you need a C license to drive one of those, and it's expensive, and you need skill to get it. So no. The classes of trucks are based on weight. These are underweight. You don't need a C license to drive these things. They're still just passenger trucks. They might be inconvenient in Europe for whatever reason, but whatever. It's what people are using. Jilly Beans with a $2 super chat. Clyde super chats are now super trucks. There you go. Yeah, they're super trucks. That's the old slip. That's the old slip of the tongue. Oh, that's too funny. Save them with wobbly pops. Oh, they could use a couple. That's for sure. These vehicles should be banned, wrote another. Again, ban. What would happen if they banned avocado toast? Would you love your city still? I mean, don't these people have lives? No. It's Victoria. Another person pointed out that apart from the trouble of parking these trucks or going around narrow street corners downtown is the issue of the drivers of the truck that can actually see pedestrians in front of them. What do you think? Please let us know respectfully. And it's because they put respectfully that there's 0 comments on the article. There's way more comments on my video talking about the article. There's way more comments in tonight's chat talking about this article. Avocados are racist? Let's get that trending. Why? What? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, that's funny. No respect, I tell you. Victoria is Canadian San Francisco. It is. Oh, but I mean, no, San Francisco at least has a big population and things to offer. I don't know, maybe. Actually, San Fran's not doing so great anymore. Not really at all, actually. What was it? Gavin Newsom was in the news recently. Let's pull that one up because I actually had that one to talk about today. If we got to that point in the conversation, or did I? I thought I had it up. I have it somewhere because it's just. Oh yeah, it was on Instagram. Let's pull this up. So this Instagram story. I think you got to hit refresh or it doesn't reload.
California is facing an apparent exodus of high income earners.
Wow,
analysts believe
leaving.
This could be a grave concern for the Golden State, as high income earners make up just under half of the state's total tax take.
California has no peers. California simply has no peers.
Economically, Governor Newsom is right, but some state residents disagree.
I'm seeing anywhere from 2 to 5 clients a month calling me and saying we're leaving.
California saw a net loss of 750,000 residents to other states over the last 3 years, according to the U.S. Census. But the real story is who is leaving.
The one percenters, which is about 150,000, 160,000 people out of a state of 40 million, are paying nearly.
So that's one thing because 1%, when people think 1% is actually like, in the grand scheme of things, 1 out of every 100. 1 out of every 100. People always hear the 1% and they think like super wealthy people, but 1 out of every 100 is not Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. 1 out of every 100 is doing really well for themselves. You know what I mean? Doing really well for themselves, and that's it. But they're really well for themselves. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean that you're living in luxury all the time? You got tons of leisure and all this stuff? No, it means you're a business owner. It means you own a business and you employ people. And usually it means you work your tail off and you probably have a very little leisure time yourself. In fact, everybody else has way more leisure time, and that's a fact. But I just wanted to, because not enough people put it into that perspective. I mean, 100 people. How many of the 100 people do you know are uber wealthy? At least 100 people, more than 100 people. That's the thing. It's crazy. But yeah, people are out of California. I mean, look at all the celebrities that we know of that are leaving California. So many people are leaving California for Texas and Florida. Canadians are leaving for Texas and Florida too. Yeah, that's the thing.
nearly half of the income taxes.
For the first time, the state is seeing a net decline in highly educated, upwardly mobile, high-earning professionals.
Well, seriously, half the income taxes if you move to another state. And this is for people like in Canada. You don't even fathom that like Californians pay way less taxes than Canadians. Like way less. And they still overtaxed. But if you could have your tax burden by just moving locations, it just becomes a no-brainer, right? Yeah. Now, for people to put this into context, just so it's in context, they pay way less than us, but their tax burden is a lot compared to the rest of America, and they're leaving California. What's the biggest factor that keeps people in California, do you think? In my opinion, the great weather in California. It's not looking great for Canada right now. This is why. Wait it out. Next election, hopefully things get better and start moving in the right direction. If not, holy cow, Canada is not looking very appealing to a lot of people. I mean, this is what's happening in California.
Now, why is that a big deal? Because no state is more dependent on the wealthy than California. The top 1% pay 45% of the income tax.
They have
California's progressive politics. The state says it's facing a $68 billion deficit, with income tax revenue down 25%.
We are the tentpole of the American economy.
Tax records show Californians going to Texas earned $137,000, while Texans coming to California made just $75,000.
The state of California is
Wow. That's where we're at. But yeah, Canada's looking a lot like California right now. Bad weather California. Like, should we just call it bad weather California from now on? Because they're both CA, right? So California, the state abbreviation is CA. In Canada, it's all .ca. Tentpole, lol. Yeah. There's a lot of tent poles going up in California. Oh, there's a bad analogy, Newsom. Oh, Gavin Newsom is just he's wreaked such havoc over there. It's crazy. But yeah, we're bad weather Cali. Canada is. It's insane. It's insane. But it's not like we couldn't turn it around. This is the thing. Canada is such a promising country. If we were able to take control of what the government is doing in our country, we have so many resources. We have so many, hardworking people. I mean, there are a lot of hardworking people when they come out of the woodworks, for sure. We have tons of resources, and if the incentives are in the right place, you'll have a lot of people diving in and getting into that. Not only that, but we'll have a lot of people coming back to Canada if it was a thing, and we'll have a lot of people from other countries that are professionals wanting to come here and bring that, or investors want to bring that investment here to Canada. So we're down, but we're not lost. We're not lost. In fact, if anything, the Liberals and the NDP, they would like us all to leave and never vote again. For all those that have left Canada and are watching the streams and watching the shows, remember, you can always absentee vote. You can always absentee vote, and you can get Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, yeah, he's a piece of work. Will Kowalchuk, sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing things. Will Kowalchuk with a $2 super chat. Do you think the Conservatives will win scandals? Will they win scandals? Or will they, have scandals? Is that what you're talking about? I'm sure they're going to have scandals. There's always scandals. But they're not as scandalous as this current administration. I don't think they will be. But I'm sure the news will try to drum stuff up. We'll see what ends up happening with that. Do you think the Conservatives will win scandals? I'm trying to figure out what you mean by that. Super chats are tough. Super chats are tough. You only have so many word characters to put in. Please come back or do what Clyde said. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Come back, or in lieu of coming back, make sure that you do absentee vote. Anyone who's expat, still Canadian, you're still a Canadian citizen, you can vote in the elections. Make sure that you get in there and do that, because you don't want to leave it to everybody else who wants the country to go in the wrong direction. Anyway, we have been going for an extra period of time. We got into that. We got into that article. It was just too much fun. It was too much fun. Making fun of the avocado toast. It's just Clyde, you need to have a live call-in show. ABL channel is great. He does this. So I was thinking about that, but it's kind of dangerous because you never know what people might say live. And with YouTube being, I'm not trying to rip on YouTube. YouTube's been fantastic for this channel, for the growth, for getting information out there, all that stuff. But they do have censorious practices, right? And if somebody says something on here, it could risk the whole stream coming down. You never know. And if you can't, I don't know. Maybe if there's a way of making it possible, then that could be a good way to do it. It's also tough to organize. I'd have to have like a crew behind that to like screen the calls and then make that happen. But what about on Rumble? I don't post on Rumble anymore. I haven't posted on Rumble in months. We'll see what Rumble does, but it hasn't really been a growth platform for me. Every other platform is growing and not Rumble. They don't have scandals against libs, says Will with a $2 super chat. Do you think they'll win any scandals against the libs? I hope so. But so this is this weird thing. So the Conservatives get into power. They come in with a super majority, which it looks like it will be. They get in with that. And I'm just seeing that Prime Minister is trending on Twitter. It's the weekend. I don't know if I want to know why. The scandals, this is a difficult thing. So they get into power, and then they immediately go after their political enemies. This is how it's going to be spun. Like, most Canadians want justice for a lot of these things. What was done with Jody Wilson-Raybould deserves severe punishment. There needs to be a disincentive, a criminal disincentive for future governments to try to pull something like that. This is I don't even really understand how the people who made the framework for the government even didn't see that conflict of interest going into it. The whole concept of having your governor general is your cabinet member. There should be and you appoint them, and then the ability to just fire them because they're gonna prosecute some. Yeah. Get out of town. So that's criminal. That's a criminal thing that took place, and we need to see something happen. But there's this like dancing on eggshells when you come in as the thing, but and you start going after it. So I think they need to go after it, but they need to do it in a independent way and a way more transparent way. If they just come in and use their power to do it, that's not going to look right. Of course, they need to go after the RCMP. There's corruption everywhere in this country. It's crazy. The RCMP needs to be opened up, and all of that stuff needs to be aired out. Like, there's no way. There's no way anyone will trust any of these institutions unless that happens. So, they say sunlight is the best disinfectant. Air it out. Air this stuff out. Steve's Hyde with the $5 super chat. Well, that's why this community is great, right? So far, nobody has super trucked anything too offensive. And, Rumble can be a safe backup. thing is, there's a lot of creators that are getting, big offers from Rumble, and that's a thing. That is a thing. And if I'm just putting all my stuff on there and they're not even recommending me, that means they don't know who I am. So maybe they can get to know who I am, find that out, and then perhaps come to me with an offer to why to go over there. Because I was on there for a year and a half, uploading everything, and not a lot of growth. Did not see a lot of growth there. Linda Hunter gifted 1 membership to the channel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Whoever got that one, better give her a big old thank you. Dog backwards. I'm talking to you. But that's the thing. Thank you for the decent live. Really appreciate you. Table 19 wobbly pops for everyone, eh? Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going on. I'll keep rambling because this is what I do. I'll just keep on rambling. I will come and hang out in the Discord. If anyone's part of the Discord, I'll probably pop in there for a little while, see what everybody else is saying. If you don't know where the Discord is, there's always a link in the description down below. Go check that out. Go hang out there. Let other people give their point of views as well, instead of just me talking like we've been doing for 2.5 hours here. So big thanks for everybody. Big thanks to Marcus Wong for coming out and showing his face. It takes a lot of courage for someone who's an aspiring person to get into politics to come on, independent channels like this. And for them, it is a risk, I'm not saying that I'm a big risk, but it is a risk for them. They don't know what every YouTuber has to say, and it's always the left. They love to take anything that someone said, guilt by association. You went on there, obviously Marcus is his own man, and he's going to do things the way he wants, and I like his ideas, and I think I'm going to throw my support in the hat for that one, so that he can get the Conservative nomination, and then take that to Ottawa. And I know who he's running against, because the incumbent appears he's running again. So and the incumbent was one of the guys who voted enthusiastically for the Emergencies Act in my riding. So I won't be voting for him to continue his tenure as the MP in this region. And I know a lot of people in this area are not happy with the leader of his party, or anyone who enabled that leader to do the things that he did. Anyway, again, I'm rambling. So everybody have a great night. Thank you so much. Again, thanks to Marcus Wong for coming in. You guys are amazing. Keep up everything that you've been doing, and keep doing what you're doing. You do something. Keep on trucking is what I mean to say.